Here's what's cooking on the day. Sports Stove, a local hour, or dare I say international hour. We're talking with linebacker Maddox Marcellus, and we're bringing back Jeremy Edwards, who's up in Canada, to talk tonight as well. That's what's cooking on the day. Sports Stove, local hour.
McKinney looks, steps into pocket, throws, open receiver, touchdown! Colonels, we're not done yet!
Our identity is we're going to press for 40 minutes, we're going to play up-tempo, we're going to play with unbelievable passion, and then our brand is the most exciting 40 minutes in sports.
Welcome in to an all-new edition of the Sports Stove Local Hour, presented by All Around Roofing. Check out allaroundroofingky.com. If you're in Central Kentucky and have any needs on the exterior of your home, they are going to be there to help you out. Well, it may be Halloween, but this is not a scary night on the Sports Stove Local Hour. As a matter of fact, it's a very exciting night on the Sports Stove Local Hour. I'm Ben Stover, joined as I am every week by the one and only Jonathan Duff. Duff, I know you had some kids come by, but did you try to get out and get some candy as well?
No, I did not get any candy. The church across the street had some trick-or-treaters and everything, so we popped over there and saw them. But no, I did not get any candy myself.
It's I know I'm at that age. My kids are at the age where it's like it's just not going to happen anymore. It's I just gotta go buy it off the bargain bin the next day or something in order to get some candy in my house at the very least. I'm going to ask our guests this when they come on, but I'll ask you now. Is there a favorite costume that you had growing up, or maybe an embarrassing costume that you remember and regret to this day?
I don't know. I was very typical with the athlete costumes. I always dressed up as some athlete. There's some embarrassing photos just because I was a bigger child, so there's some embarrassing photos in all kinds of costumes. I know I had one I dressed up maybe as Pete Rose or something like that and had a Reds hat on and everything like that, but I'm like a huge child. So I know that circulated last year, I remember, and Jeremy actually got a hold of that one and loved it because my mom posted it. But as far as there was one embarrassing one year, we had some kind of group school musical in the elementary school, and a bunch of guys had to dress up as old ladies, and so I had to do that one year. That was a little embarrassing when I look back on it, but it's all good time.
Yeah, sports was a common theme for me too. Packer jersey, helmet, those kinds of things. For sure. I'm old enough to have those plastic masks that everyone had back in the day, and with the little elastic band behind it, and was very uncomfortable as well. Man, I think I was Ninja Turtles, maybe. I'm trying to remember now. It's been a long time.
I had Power Rangers.
Yeah. Power Rangers would make sense. Yeah. So anyways, I was also a cowboy. I remember that. I grew up around horses, so being a cowboy was a fun dress up as well, for sure. So we'll talk to Maddox about that. And Jeremy, I don't know if they even celebrated Halloween in Jeremy's neck of the woods back then.
His first one was actually at our house here. So.
Are you serious?
Yep. He went all out. He carved pumpkins, bought decorations, put them up in our front yard. We were actually looking for him the other day. He texted us and said he left them here, but we couldn't find them, so we're going to put the decorations out. But yeah, Jeremy went all out on his first Halloween.
All right. Well, we'll have to talk to him about that for sure. But like I said, it's not scary for a few reasons. Number one, coming off a win. So that's always awesome. You guys had homecoming Saturday. Good crowd came out Saturday to enjoy homecoming, and it seemed like most of them were sober enough to stick around for the whole game, which was nice to see as well. Huge career day for Joshua Carter, which was exciting to see as well, coming off of a Sports Stove appearance on Thursday and then career day on Saturday. I don't think it's a coincidence, but and of course, Isaac took credit because he wrote the article about Josh that week as well. So we shared credit on that one. But big game for Joshua Carter and a big game for Maddox Marcellus, who we'll talk to in just a few minutes as well. But take us back to homecoming and just the feels of it, and ultimately the joy at the end of it all.
Yeah, as far as homecoming, that's a big deal because First off, one of our main goals, our number one goal, is to be undefeated at Roy Kidd Stadium. I've spoken about that before, how much that means to us. And so to protect our turf is important. So to get a win there is always huge. Also homecoming, we got to Friday at practice was really cool. We got to hear from some of the old players, the players of the past that had been here, and guys who won Super Bowls, that won national championships here, and just have done some incredible things in their careers when they were players and gone on to do great things in the world. And so that's always cool. That's always like a really neat part of homecoming, is getting old alumni back and just get to hear their stories and just kind of get an overwhelming sense of pride of who you represent. And that's one thing that Coach Wells just always speaks on, is the tradition of this program and how important that is. And I mean, that's what makes this program so great, and what makes it so special to be a part of. And also homecoming, just big deal with the big, crowd. Like I said, alumni and everyone coming back. So important to, get the job done and do our part of homecoming, as Coach says also. And thankfully, I've never lost a homecoming here, 5-0. So there's been some thrillers. Glad last week we won by double digits, get back in the win column. And I think there was just everyone knows that we have a lot to improve on and learn from that game, but always good to get back in the win column, and always better to learn from wins than learn from losses, to be honest with you. So just glad we got that win, and hope we can keep it rolling here this weekend.
Yeah, that's a great point, for sure. I'm curious because I came in with the Coach Wells era. That's like all that I've known when I've been around. And so that's all that I understand, but I feel like he's done such a great job with tying in the history of the program. And I'm curious of when Wells is gone, whenever that is. I'm curious to see if that's the direction they look to kind of continue to enforce, or if that's, because I think it's a really strong point of Coach Wells. And I think that he ties it in well to you guys and to the new guys that come in, and the stuff you guys do in the summer and all that sort of stuff that kind of builds on that and what he teaches. And I think it's really cool. And I think for a program that has such history, it's really cool that a coach really dives into that history. And of course, with him knowing Coach Kidd, working, here in the program before, that helps for sure. But I think it's cool. I think it makes things like homecoming that much more meaningful for the program because of what Coach Wells does there too. So I think that's pretty awesome. On the football side of things, you guys, slow start.
Yep.
No scoring in the first quarter. But it came alive finally. Second quarter, things began to happen. Utah Tech scored first with a field goal, but then Carter scored, and then the defense scored not long after. The strip sack by Gabe, and then the scoop and score by Marcellus as well, or Maddox Marcellus as well. So that came after a defensive touchdown got called back. It was the right call, but that early on, it just seemed like the defense was everywhere and doing everything.
Yeah, they were flying around. And the one thing that we stress on too, and this is an improvement thing that we need to work on based on the first quarter there, and we did as the game went on, but is playing complementary football. When the defense comes out and is on firing on all cylinders, hair's on fire, running to the ball, you love to set the tone that way, but then offense and special teams, we need to capitalize on that kind of activity. And so we did as the game got later on, but just complementing each phase of the game is huge. And but yeah, hats off to the defense and Maddox with a huge momentum and game-changing play right there. I think that kind of set the tone for us to stay ahead as the game went on and just continue to keep that lead. But like you said, there was a point 0-0 at the end of the first quarter, 3-0. Okay, now we score, and then bam, Maddox makes it 14-3. That was a huge change of the game and a huge shift. And so that was just big time player making big time play, and Gabe getting hit on that quarterback. It was awesome.
Joshua had a huge game, of course. Carter, it just seemed like he was about to break one so many times. He had several 12, 13, 18-yard runs, and it seemed like he was so close to just busting a long touchdown. And I joked with them in the press conference afterwards because Cam got a touchdown. And I said, you feel like Cam stole that one from you? You came in and got that touchdown, and Josh had worked so hard to get down there. He said, I definitely left some on the field, but he said, no, it's as long as we win, that's all I care about, of course, as well. So Joshua, I mean, again, there was full confidence in him coming into the season. Even with B. Sloan gone, everyone felt really confident. Hey, Carter can do what he needs to do. And not only that, the rotation has changed. Whereas Josh was getting, 60% of the snaps. Now he seems like he's getting 70 or 80% of the snaps. It seems like they're letting him be that workhorse right now.
Yeah, and I think we got to talk to him last week, and you can just tell his mentality, and he's always going to say he left something out on the field, and he's just so hungry, and so he wants the ball, and so it was cool to just see him get fed that much, and keep, like you said, it's 11 yards, 12 yards, 10 yards, and I mean his yards per carry, I don't know what it ended up being, but it was well over what you want it to be, and so he just Mr. Reliable, Mr. Consistent. It was good to see him get the rock that much, and obviously too Latham when he gets in there. I mean, he's a workhorse too and can do the same thing. So it's nice to have a 1-2 punch still whenever Josh gets tired. But you're right. I mean, Josh was in there. He was getting fed. He kept rolling. And, I mean, it's so awesome to have him. And you can also see it in the numbers, not only like we won the turnover battle, he protected the football. We won the explosive play battle. He was ripping off these long runs, and we made some big plays all over the field, more than just Josh. And on top of that, you look at the yards per rush and the time of possession. I mean, when you can run the ball like that and control the game, you really control the game. When you can run the ball like that, you set the tone, you control the pace, and so it's really game changing. So I'd love to see we're going to continue to work to build off that, and everyone has full faith in Josh and the rest of our running backs as well.
Yeah, definitely. As a team, almost 300 yards rushing this week. Matt continues to kind of show his versatility a little bit too. He had 55 yards this week with the long run of 23, longest of the game of anybody. Josh carried the bar 31 times. Braden got it 10 times, had 46 yards still in his 10 touches. And we saw Telly and Jalen Montgomery both get touches as well. And Jalen, I just kind of feel like we're getting ready to see more. I'm thinking back to kind of how they used McGlure he's just so athletic out of that backfield. He can do so many things. And so I think it kind of feels like we're going to see more Jalen Montgomery as we go throughout the season as well. Of course, we're running out of time. We're getting there. Ron Van had a really good game this week also, continued to show up there too. And then, of course, the return game didn't have as much activity this week. Jacob Baker still crushing it back there. 6 punts, 255 yards total, average of 42.5, and he had 2 inside the 20. He had a touchback as well. Long punt of 55. So Jacob Baker still doing his job back there too. So, all right, well, let's get into our guests here tonight. We're going to start off on the defensive side of the ball. He had a great game with the scoop and score. That's not the only thing that he's done. He now currently leads the team in tackles with 59. 4 of those a tackle for loss. Let's bring on linebacker Maddox Marcellus. Let's see if we can get him up here. Maddox, are you there, bud?
Hey,
there
guys.
he is.
What up, Maddox?
What's going on, man?
On though, doing good, man.
Good to have you on. Yeah, good to have you on. Appreciate you coming on. And, of course, a big week this week for you. You got the touchdown. Also a big week from the defense as well. So let's start with Saturday stuff, and then we'll work forward. What was the feeling like on Saturday out there at homecoming?
Man, it was a great feeling. The past 2 weeks, it was definitely left a sour taste on our mouth because, we didn't play to the standard as we wanted to play, as we know we can play. And, just getting that win, seeing everybody excited in the locker room, it was a great feeling.
Yeah, it seems like every week after a win, we get to see something from Coach Wells. We saw the dance several weeks back. To this last week, he had his visor flipped upside down there for a time as well. I could go without seeing Coach Wells dance, honestly, but I appreciate the joy that's there also, for sure. Talk about the score. What did you see? From the whole angle, from the start of the play, and then the feeling once you crossed the goal line.
Man, the score, I was just trying to do my job at the beginning, and then saw quarterback step up, saw Gabe just come out of nowhere and smash him and kill him, and then I was like, okay, you got a sack. Seen the ball roll out right, and I was like, okay, it's time to go score, That's all that was in my mind.
So on Sunday and throughout the week, how much have you talked about that touchdown with your teammates?
Probably a good amount, giving the offense a little stuff. Just, you know what I mean?
So we've seen Jeremiah got the 2-point conversion a couple weeks back. Now you've got the touchdown.
Come on.
And Ryan was on here, was it last week, 2 weeks ago, whenever Ryan was on last week? And he said, yeah, we're playing well. We need to turn some of these turnovers into points. And then just like that, boom, it happens. What's the emphasis been like continuing through this week about the defense getting their hands on the ball and putting points on the board?
Yeah, I mean, we've been preaching getting the ball out and scoring points as a defense since camp, like really ever since I've been here. It's just putting it into action and then being consistent with it. Like this week, we got to do the same thing. It can't be a one-time thing, and that's really been the emphasis. Nothing really. It's not that we got the turnover and then, it's just been the same emphasis. Just since camp.
Duff, we've had lots of vets on here, and Maddox isn't brand new, obviously, but he is one of the younger bucks on the team. Talk to us a little bit about Maddox, and then whatever questions you got for him.
Yeah, Maddox is how D-Bake said about Jeremiah back when he came in as a freshman. Jeremiah was a different kind of freshman, and so I feel like Maddox has always been kind of that same way, and same with Latham, which we'll get into in a second. I want to ask about Latham, but Maddox, last year you had a role as a true freshman. You were a key to the blitzing operation that we had going on, and you're one of the best blitzers in the country. And so coming into this year, you knew that you're going to have a more solidified role. Obviously, you were already rotating in and getting starts opportunities, but then obviously injuries come around, and so you're playing a lot more maybe than you thought you might have been. What did you focus on this offseason that you knew you needed to grow on from freshman year to be ready to take over a role like this in your sophomore year?
Freshman year, I really didn't know what to expect. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, you're coming in with that confidence, like, okay, like I want to go over there and go play right away. But then reality hits you where it's not like high school where you got a whole bunch of, college is like you got a whole bunch of talented guys, right? 5th, 6 years, 4 years, like great guys. So then my mindset shifted, like, okay, you still got confidence in yourself, but like let's try to even make the travel roster, But I think the biggest thing for me going into the off season was like, okay, I had a good season freshman year. Let's try to build on that and just be more mature. Like I feel like I could go out there and play football, but at the same time, there's times where, I'm not. I just need to be more mature. That's the best way to put it. You know what I mean? But this offseason, I worked really hard just to show that I could play every down, not just blitz. You know what I mean? Obviously, I love doing it, but just showing out I could go play third down. I could go stop the run in whatever formation it is. Like, that's just really what I wanted to focus on this season.
Yeah, it's paying off.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, Isaac put out a great article again this week, this time covering you and a little bit of your story. You mentioned it in that story with Kylan and some of the things he said to you. What has been that advice or the way that those older guys, even the guys that have been hurt now, Kyle and even Jalen, whoever that has stepped up and helped you, kind of encouraged you along this path to help you continue to grow where you are?
Man, those guys have always been such a big help to me. Like, ever since I stepped foot on campus, they've been in my ear, just making sure I'm doing the right things and encouraging me to keep going. And especially this season, Kylan, like, even though it wasn't really like, we were just trying to be competitive, but I mean, me and Kylan's relationship grew like crazy. Like, we would go on the weekends and work out, and like we would hit each other up on weekends to go one-on-one, just work on drills and get conditioned. And like, he's been such a big help for me. And when he went down, he pulled me aside and we just had a little moment where it was like, Maddox, you got to step up. Like, this is reality. You know what I mean? And it really hit home for me and showed how real football can get. And I had to step up, but other than him, Kylan and not Kylan, Kyle and Jalen. Ever since Jalen was my host actually on my visit here, and me and him been close since day one. Then me and Kyle got close when I got here. It's just all the older guys just been real cool to me and supportive of me.
And now you got you're kind of the old man on the inside linebacker field, right? Just like that. Just like that. Braden's over there. He's young too. I mean, you guys got a lot of football ahead of you.
Yeah.
Was that brought extra energy maybe with guys that now are getting some opportunities that maybe they didn't realize they were going to get right this early, I guess?
100%. It's just like you could have told me last year that I would be feeling like the old guy, like this. Like it's crazy. Like I just felt like I was the guy that was asking what play, like what do I do on this play, like clueless out there. But now it's like I'm the guy that people come to when they need to know what a play is. But it's definitely brought an energy because me and Braden had to talk. Like, it's just like we got to be those guys to step up. Like it couldn't just be Kyle and Kylan because they're gone now. So it's like not gone, but they got injured and we knew we had to step up for the team and for the defense. So, just bringing that energy, showing the guys like, we're ready to go in and play. Like, I feel like that gave them a boost of energy as well.
Do you feel like this year there has been any kind of change in energy, change in even some of the formations and things like that? Positive change this year on the defense from last year?
I definitely do feel like there was a change. Like, even we did change the formation of what we did from last year because coach felt like the stuff that we're doing now was better than last year or would be more effective. And I don't know, we just got a bunch of guys. I mean, we do have most of the D lines back and the corners are somewhat different, but I just feel like everybody came in with a new mindset, new energy. Like, let's go from being one of the lowest ranked defenses to like let's go out and show people we're one of the best. You know what I mean? And I feel like that's what people have been carrying since spring, honestly.
Yeah. And I've said this before. I was kind of critical of Coach Johnson last year, and because it was the second year of just issues, a lot of yards given up and things like that in different ways. And I felt like it was kind of predictable a little bit more. The defense was easy to read. And this year I've been so impressed, and I'm just a fan. I'm not knowledgeable on all this stuff, but I've seen so many different formations, seeing different guys out there, bringing out an extra safety. Houston's come out a couple times, and back, when everyone's healthy, you've got Jaheim was playing. He came in as the third safety. Those kinds of things, just matching up better. It seems like with what the offense is throwing at you guys, and it seems like you guys as players have responded because coach can call the perfect play. If it doesn't get executed, then he still looks bad. But do you think that execution has been better this year than last year?
I'm not really too sure, you know what I mean? Because last year, to be honest, I didn't really even know the plays for real. That's really why like Coach Johnson was like, listen, Maddox, ain't gonna lie, when you get in, you're just going on the blitz.
Yeah.
That's really what it was. But I knew some of the plays, but
yeah,
I didn't really know for real. But I could definitely see a change in the defense from last year, for sure. But yeah, honestly, I didn't really know, to be honest.
Yeah. Duff, what else you got for Maddox?
Yeah, I mentioned you came in a class with you and Latham. And if there's one thing I can speak to just from my experience here, man, is when you come in with a class and you guys are tight-knit and you got like your boy, in the class, your roommates, you go through together. For me, it was Reese Atkins and I roomed together for 4 straight years. He graduated here. And so just it makes you a better football player because you got someone who's like-minded, that's hungry all the time, and also it just makes for a better brotherhood. And so I know you're still living with Latham, he's probably over there somewhere. Speak about that friendship and also just like the brotherhood here at EKU.
Man, where do I start? That's just my guy, man. Like from day one, like I remember I was asking him like what type of games he played, and that's really how we started talking. Like ever since day one we started clicking. We went to summer workouts together. Like he wasn't my roommate, but he was like we would just hit each other up when we were going somewhere. Like even to this day, if you see me, you see Braden. You know what I mean? Like that's just my right hand man, and I still give him crap for it to this day. Like the first padded practice we had, I got kicked out of practice because of him. So, I still give him crap for that. But other than that,
tell us the story.
Oh man. So we're in team run, we're in sub run, and Braden's running, and then it's thud. We're not supposed to take to the ground, and I came and I hit him, and then he fell, and then I fall on top of him. My helmet comes off, and then Coach Wells just rips me, tells me to get out of practice, all type of stuff. Definitely welcome to college, first practice getting kicked out.
Yeah.
Nah, it's definitely a funny story to tell, funny to tell to this day. But nah, Braden's my guy. He made it. Like, for me, it was a huge thing going away from Miami to come in here, because it's like I never really been away from my family. So it's definitely a new thing for me. And Braden made it feel like a home away from home. You know what I mean? Kind of like a brother. So that's my guy.
Sure.
And I wanted to see that because both of your parents played college sports, but they played out west. You end up being from Miami. How did your parents end up in Florida? And then what is that transition like from Miami? I've never been to Miami. I've been to Florida several times. Never been to Miami, but the transition from Miami to Richmond, Kentucky.
Yeah. So my dad actually grew up in Haiti. He was born in Haiti, and he moved to Miami. And then my mom was born in Minnesota, and then ended up moving to Miami for law school. And then that's kind of how they met. But, my dad played football at Wyoming. Mom played softball at South Dakota State, and they just met down here in Florida. And yeah, I mean, being from Miami, the cold is definitely the first thing I think about when it comes to Richmond. To this day, the guys still hear me complain about the cold. Can't really do the cold, but we tough enough through it. But I mean, yeah, it was kind of a smooth transition for me though, because Richmond is not really like up pace. It's kind of like chill to me, and that's kind of who I am. You know what I mean? Like, even though from Miami, it's like up pace, fast, busy, but I'm kind of a chill, laid back type of guy, and that's why Richmond. I think I was able to fit in Richmond really well. I think that's why.
Do your parents, are they able to come up to games?
It's funny you ask. They come to every game.
Okay.
Like my mom came to every game last year, and because I was playing special teams, and she just wanted to come just because I was out on the field. But my dad now, he was like, Maddox, if you're playing, we come in every game, and they haven't missed a game. So
that's awesome. That's awesome.
Cool. Braden just walked in the house as we speak.
What up, Braden? Hey, so it's Halloween,
there
right?
He is.
What's going on?
We're just talking about you, buddy. There's the man, the myth, and the legend.
What's up, Braden?
That's the man right there.
Were you out trick or treating? Is that why you just got home?
Oh no, I just got home from BOGO.
From BOGO.
Yeah. That's the man right there.
Oh yeah.
So Maddox, with it being Halloween, your childhood growing up, did you trick or treat? And if so, is there a favorite costume you had, or maybe an embarrassing costume?
Man, yes, I trick or treated growing up. Me and my two brothers, older brother Mason, my younger brother Merrick, who were trying to get to come to EKU, by the way.
Nice.
Anyway, that's a topic for another story. But yeah, I mean, we trick or treated all the time growing up. Me and my two brothers and my best friends from the house. And my mom just showed me a picture the other day, literally on Saturday, of me and my brothers trick or treat costumes. We were like the Power Rangers. I was the red one, and my other brothers, I forgot what colors they were, but I was mad and all type of stuff. But just showed me that picture the other day. It's funny you asked that. And
yeah.
Do I have a I don't know if I have an embarrassing one. I can't remember, but that's definitely the one that stands out to me.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, we've got some family members that we're trying to get to EKU on a football team as a show. So we'll keep working. We'll keep working that for sure. Duff, anything else for Maddox?
Yeah, I got one more question. We talked about your development from freshman year to sophomore year, but also speak to just getting all this experience and all these reps. You and Braden Sullivan both just a lot of reps every game. Talk about like what kind of growth or development you've seen in yourself this season through just those reps and as the games go on, whether it be your guys' chemistry together or certain things that you play recognition, stuff like that. What is the biggest thing that you've grown on?
I feel like the biggest thing that I've grown on with getting, like, obviously a lot of reps because of, the two guys being out. I feel like the biggest thing that I've grown is, again, just maturing into just not only running around blockers, but actually engaging and understanding the play and understanding my fit in the play. Because, my last time playing all those, like all the type of reps I'm playing right now was senior year of high school, you know what I mean? And high school, you just run around, make plays and go back. But, just understanding schemes, understanding how you fit on defense, understanding what we're trying to do on defense has definitely been a lot, but I feel like I gotten better at that type of stuff going into my sophomore year, and also just playing and getting a feel, you know what I mean? Getting a feel for the game.
Right.
Well, Maddox, you and Braden, you're leading the team in tackles now. Braden is second. He's got 3 behind you. You're tied for the lead in most tackles for loss so far this season with Jaheim Ward. What is the one individual goal that you're still wanting to accomplish this year? We know what the team goals are, but what's something individually that you want to accomplish before the season ends?
Man, I really wish I could tell you I had to end, obviously getting tackles and stuff is cool to look at, but I mean, I really wish I had an individual, like a certain individual goal. Like my goal is just to win. Like I hate losing. Like I don't like losing. I don't like the losing feeling. I'm sure I speak for everybody really when I say losing has just been terrible. Like the plane rides, silent, and it's just a bad feeling. Like all I've been thinking about, all my mindset has been on is just going out and winning. How if I get 1 tackle, if I get 2 tackles and we win the football game, like shoot, that's good with me. If I get 15 and 14 and we lose, I'm not even thinking about the 15. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just hate losing and just want to go out and win.
Well, you guys are flying down to Texas this week. What does your flight entail? Do you watch a movie? Do you what do you do on the flights?
For me, it kind of depends on what time the flight is. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, like when I'm up, I'm kind of up. Like sometimes I go to sleep, but let's say, for instance, the Utah, we had like a 7 a.m. flight. I was asleep the whole flight. Like I was going, there was no waking me up. But usually I'll just download some movies, play some music, or something just chill like that.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, big game this weekend, of course, against Tarleton, and a much needed road win, hopefully around the corner for sure as well. Maddox, I appreciate you, man. I'm excited for you and the opportunities you're getting. Excited that you're producing, and excited that you were able to join the show tonight. Maddox, we appreciate you. Good luck the rest of the way, man.
Man, I appreciate you guys for having me, man. See you, Duff. See you, Vince.
Yeah. See you, big guy.
Maddox. Maddox Marcellus, linebacker, inside linebacker for EKU, filling shoes nicely. Lots of injuries at the linebacker position this year, and he has stepped right in. And before the season started, Coach Wells said, hey, he brought up Maddox Marcellus more than any other player to me in our conversations. And I found that I took note of that, because you're like, well, this kid is definitely going to be on the field. And then the injuries happen, and now he's on the field all the time, and he's producing. It's pretty cool to see. Especially as a sophomore as well, being able to contribute that much is pretty cool. All right, let's bring in guest number 2 for the evening. He is an alum of EKU. He is someone who has personally experienced the great athleticism of Jonathan Duff, and he's currently living in Canada. He's the one and only Jeremy Edwards. What's going on, man?
Hey guys, how you doing?
Doing awesome. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. I don't know about that great athleticism of Jonathan Duff, but we'll whatever floats your boat, we'll run with it.
I had a tackle in practice today.
Oh, did they fall over and you fell on top?
Was it Brady Latham? Did you go up and touch Brady Latham and he fell down?
No. We had a little Devin Hester situation. Field goal team had to go cover a kick, and there was no juking this guy out. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, okay. Okay. I'll believe that when I see it. I want the film.
I'll send you the film tomorrow.
Yeah.
I gotta make sure it looks good.
You gotta do some editing. Jeremy, let's start with the current, man. You're up in Canada, hanging out in the Argonauts uniform and living the good life up there. How are things going up there in the CFL and just Canada in general?
It's going great, man. It's still surreal. Like I've been here for 6 months now, and it still just doesn't. It's like a pipe dream up here. It's the guys like been so welcoming and everything. This is like the locker room is unreal. The professional football side of things is unreal. Like it's just it still doesn't seem real. It's so much fun. I'm loving it up here. It's cold. It's cold as anything, for lack of better words. But I'm loving it, man. It's so sick.
Now, I've heard from some people that you've gotten to do some fun things up there in Toronto. I've never been to Toronto. I've never been to Canada, but I've never been to Toronto. And I've heard you got to do some cool things and see some sights and different things up there. What's the coolest thing about living in Canada?
Probably, I'd like to say just the sporting up here. Like, it's crazy. Where I live right now, I live on top of Scotiabank Arena, where the Raps play and the Maple Leafs play. My apartment complex is attached to the arena, so I got to get to a Raps game. Their season's just kicked off, so I've got a lot more kind of freedom to get out and go to a few NBA games, and the Rogers Center where the Blue Jays play is like a 100-meter walk from my apartment. So it's like I'm right in the middle of the two of them. So the sporting aspect is insane.
That's cool. That's very cool. Now I know you and Duff. I'm going to ask Duff to share stories about you in a second, but you got to tell us a little bit about Duff. He's been helping us out this season with Ryan. Had to step away for he had scheduled things that conflicted and whatnot. So Duff stepped in. I asked him if he'd be willing to come in and help us out, finish out the football season, and he did. And I'm learning a lot about Duff throughout this process. But what if we're trying to figure out who is Jonathan Duff? What's your answer to that?
Oh man, when I saw that you were having him on the show, I was like, you are scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Like, and Duff was one of my best friends at college. Like, me and him were like inseparable. We obviously lived together and everything. So we have our fights in the living room every now and then. But for the most time, Duff was the mediator between me and Reese. Me and Reese would just go head to head. Whether it be 6 a.m. arguing over the AC being on in the middle of winter, or Reese leaving his dishes around or something like that. Like, Duff was always in the middle, holding us apart from tearing each other to shreds. So he was the mediator, which was good. But no, me and Duff have been close ever since I got there. Like, I remember walking in on day one to McGregor and him coming down and meeting me, and ever since then we've been like best buds.
Before I open it up to Duff, tell us what you know about Baker. He comes in this season. I know you came down and were here for a few days, I think in the summer, and they said the amount of improvement, it was you and another guy that came down at different times, I believe, but that he worked with a little bit, and the amount of improvement that he had after those visits, and just he turned it on in the summer. He's been punting great so far this season. Obviously, you knew him, and you know him. So what about Baker can we expect moving forward with him?
Yeah, the biggest thing that I kind of found with Bake was just kind of settling into like the lifestyle of playing the game. Like, it goes back to when I first started. Like, you're under all the lights, all the eyes are on you, essentially. Like, offense and defense is very, very different because there's so many moving parts on the field at the time. Like, it's very easy to kind of slip below the radar if you do something wrong, or and when things go right, you get highlighted. Whereas being a specialist, especially being a punter, the whole stadium is watching you. So it's like this year when he was playing at Mississippi State in front of 60,000 or 50,000, however many y'all had there, like, that's 60,000 eyes on you punting the ball. So it's like, it's incredibly, like, until you learn to kind of disassociate from that and just be in the moment and not worry about anything else, it can be very, very daunting. So that was his biggest thing. And I've been watching the games recently and all that kind of stuff, and he just seems to be able to settle himself down now, which is good, and kind of just rely on his technique and everything. He doesn't have to try and kick the ball 1,000 yards every single kick. Like, if he swings his leg at 75% and we've got his technique right, like, it's going to perform every time. And that was the biggest thing that I found, is that he just seems calm out there now, which is what we needed from him.
Awesome. All right, Duff, have at it.
No, one thing, one thing came to mind when Jeremy talked about fighting, and there was I was the mediator between him and Reese in the house, and we had our house was a very fun time. Me, Jeremy, Reese Atkins, and John Stone, and we did not get shorted on any kind of fun or bicker or bantering, and we had the family movie nights or living room nights every single day. It was awesome. But there is one time where Jeremy and I almost got into a physical altercation. There was a time, it was Jeremy's first week of fall camp ever. And we basically every team in America has if something goes wrong with the field goal snap or the operation or whatever, you have some kind of safety valve because now we can't kick the ball, so we're gonna go try to throw a pass or do whatever, kind of an emergency situation. So we were installing it, and keep in mind, Jeremy had just come over. Like, Jeremy had never played football before. In Australia, they kick the ball to each other. They don't throw the ball. So, like, no one's expecting him to come out and be throwing like Peyton Manning. And so it was a running joke because Jeremy, I can say this on air, Phil was our punter before Jeremy from Australia. And Phil, in the 4 years that he spent here, he could never get throwing a football down. Jeremy has it down now, so I'll give it to Jeremy. But the running joke with Phil used to always be whenever he had to roll out and try to throw, we'd always mess with him. And so Jeremy is super hard on himself with his performance. Or back then, he was a competitor. He strove to be the best. And so it was the first time, and I think all of us, he threw it in the dirt or something. It wasn't a great throw. And so also it's in the heat of camp. It's his first camp, and we're all going, "Oh, Jeremy, is that all you got?" Like, whatever. And he turns around, and I don't even think I had said something yet. I think it was Reese and Stone were next to me, who are our other roommates, and they're just going in at him. He turns around, and I'm the first person to see. He pushes me. He's like, "Hey," like, whatever. And it was just hilarious because he was so locked in. He didn't realize that we were all just messing with him. And then Jeremy got with Parker. Jeremy got with, who else did you get with? You learned how to throw the football, and you threw it pretty well.
Hey man, like I'm going to the Peyton Passing Academy this year.
There we go. There we go. No, but one thing that is really cool about Jeremy that I will say too, and Jeremy, like I said, he's a hard worker, tireless work ethic, and you can see that from his first season to his second season to now, just the progress that he's made. I mean, to come over from Australia, to a completely different country and be thrown in a college football game that's 3.5 hours that you've never I don't think Jeremy had any idea how a college football game worked and the time frame and stuff like that. And so how much did your average grow from your first year to your second year?
My average went up by
Like 6 yards.
7 yards. Yeah, I went from 36 up to 42.9 or something like 42.8 or something like that.
So talk about a tireless worker, a guy who, first season you're just thrown in there and you're just, there you go, you're a punter. We don't have a backup, just go do it. And then just all off season and getting comfortable and stuff like that. But with that being said, Jeremy, I do have a question for you. Talk about the differences in punting in college football. You get that down and you need the hang time and all that kind of stuff. And then talk about the difference with Canadian Football League rules and what you have to change your punt style kind of to.
Man, I've had to reinvent the wheel essentially. Like, my strong suit in college was pinning inside the 10 with a fair catch, like every single time. Like, even on the open field punts, fair catches is what I aim to kick, like every single time. Kicking away from the returner and really jamming them to the sideline. And then you come up here to the Canadian League and there's no fair catch at all. And the field is the field's an extra 15 yards wider or something like that as well. So, and an extra 10 yards longer in the middle of the field, and the end zones are 20 yards. So it's a whole different ball game up here. As I said, no fair catch, and there's a halo rule around the returner, so you can't be within 5 yards of the returner until they catch the ball. So that pretty much eliminates everything I was good at. So now I've had to reinvent the way I kick the ball to try and kick more distance and less hang time, and just trying to if you're on the right hash and you have to kick it outside the numbers on the left side, that's a massive kick now. So I'm just trying to lock in as much as I can with distance, limit the hang time back. You go from kicking 4.5 second hang balls, and now they want 4 seconds to 4-1, but they want it 50 or 60 yards. It's a tough kick to do. So trying to adjust to that has been the biggest thing. It definitely struggled with it through the first couple weeks in camp. Camp was 3 weeks here, and I just couldn't seem to grasp it until like the end of the second week when I started to try to like get consistent and hit my stride again. So just trying to overkick the ball was killing me, and I think now that I've kind of settled in and I'm trusting my technique and everything, and not trying to kick the ball like 100 yards every time. It's gotten a lot smoother, which is nice.
When your team right now is in the semifinals, is that right?
Sure. Yeah, we've got the Eastern semis on Saturday at 3 p.m.
So how exciting! What's the atmosphere like at games, and especially now you guys are in postseason play?
The games are unbelievable. Like the stadium's open air, big kind of like horseshoe type stadium, and it gets quite loud in there. Like we get anywhere around 20 to 25,000 depending on how big the crowd is. Like then on the low side we have like 13 or 14,000. Like they're good sized crowds around here, and then you go to the other games and they're they're even bigger. But the atmosphere on game day is just crazy. Everyone's loud. There's fireworks going off. There's like we've got a massive cannon that shoots every time we score, just like the one at Easton. And the atmosphere that's surrounding the team right now that we're going into the playoffs again is just like the guys are on cloud nine. Everyone's singing and dancing at practice. The energy's high. Offense is flowing and defense is just locking everything down. Like we're really excited for this weekend to see how it pans out because our team's really hyped up.
And when you come into this new atmosphere, right, and you're learning about it, what has the transition been like? Because you come from Australia to Kentucky to Toronto. They're all fairly different, it seems like.
Yeah.
Was the transition hard? Because now you don't have classes and all that kind of stuff, but it's also your job now. So what's that transition like from not only Australia to Kentucky? We've talked about that before, but then from college to adult life, up there in Toronto.
Well, I mean, I tried my best to avoid going to class at all times at Easton anyway, so it's kind of like it's pretty similar to that. But I would say like going from working full time in Australia to then the college ball scene was the biggest adjustment, and then coming out of college and going through like the senior bowls and the draft prep, that kind of felt like 6 months of just weirdness. Like it was something I'd never done before, which was quite strange. And then in between the draft and then getting selected to come up here, it was kind of like I was back working full time again, and it kind of felt like my old life again. And then as soon as I came up here and got back into football, it was like I was back in like the football scene again, and I felt so comfortable and so at home. But it's kind of nice, like not having the class responsibilities and all that kind of stuff. Getting paid is really nice as well. Like not eating ramen and like chicken breast every day. That's pretty nice. But it's quite nice, like being like the professional aspect of it. Like there's no pressure from classes or anything. Like I've got another job that I do outside, just like on the side because I like to do it. So just going between there and football and lifting and all the meetings and everything, like it's so relaxed and so cruisy that's it's really, really nice.
Now, Haggerty, is that his name? Now I'm going to make sure I get this right.
Yep.
Yeah, John Haggerty. He's been there 3 years with the Argos, and he's went to college at Western Kentucky. Were you guys able to relate it all with just the state of Kentucky? And did you guys have any bets going on when East and West met this year?
Yeah, to say the least of it. And thanks for that, fellas. We definitely got to chatting. I'd never met John before when I got here. He went through the punting academy before I got there, and he finished up in 2022 at Western when I got to Eastern. So we never really crossed paths. But we kicked it off from like day one. Like he lives like 8 floors below me in the same building with his wife and 2 kids. So I'm around there all the time, hanging out with them, hanging out with the kids and stuff, and we take him to the park and everything. So we're really, really close. And he has been absolutely fantastic this year. Like from the minute when we started comparing stories about Kentucky, like the minute we met, and now like I've learned so much from him, just around the game and everything. And it's nice to have two like full-time punters on the team, so you can like what the other person's doing, so you can give them feedback. And like if my drop's slightly outside, he pulls me up on it, and then the next ball's good. Like he's very, very good teacher, and he's very, very good to have around. And yeah, I owe him everything this year. He's been absolutely phenomenal. But there was a bit of bad blood for that week after the Western game. I was pretty flat.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a rough one all the way around, I think, on that one. I was asking Duff before we came on air, or maybe it was when we were on air. I don't remember. But Halloween, did you never celebrated, never trick-or-treated? They don't do that in Australia?
No, never had a Halloween before. The 2 years I was at Easton, we always played away when we had a Halloween game. So we'd be on the bus on the way back and looking at like all the videos people were putting up of the parties and stuff, and we're like, yeah, I think they scheduled us away on purpose. But yeah, I've never really got to do anything. And then this weekend, we've got the game and everything, and we always practice the day after the game, so won't be going out this weekend and partying or anything. So I'm still yet to experience a Halloween. So
Duff said something about you did decorate the apartment up in Richmond for your first one in the States.
Yep. Yeah, I did. I went down to Walmart and went crazy on the $5.30 that I had. I got all the decorations and the fake spider webs, and bought a couple pumpkins, and we all sat outside carving the pumpkins and putting up all the decorations, which was a lot of fun. So I kind of got in the Halloween spirit a little bit, which was nice.
Yeah. You didn't have the same NIL money that Duff gets from doing this podcast, so you had to scrape by there. Duff,
I heard Duff's all money bags now. So
that's right. Yeah.
You got the wrong Duff.
Duff, what else you got for Jeremy?
Yeah. Hang on. It'll come to me. I had another question for you. Oh, I gotcha. So talk to everyone about kind of the moment you got drafted, because I remember it very specifically. Me and Reese were on the phone calling, live streaming, watching, and we were kind of overcome with some emotion, some pride and all that. You were first round in the global draft of the CFL. Not many people can say that. Talk about that feeling and just what that was like.
Man, it was crazy. Like it was 1 a.m., like 1:30 a.m. Australian time on a Wednesday. I had to be at work at 5 a.m. So I'd gone to sleep for a couple hours and woken back up, and I was sitting there on the couch, and I'd spoken to my agent the day before, and he kind of gave me a bit of an insight as to what was going on. I'd had one interview with another team, and they had the third pick and the 12th pick, and Toronto had the 7th and the like 15th or something like that. Like it was, or 16th. And I was sitting there, and the team was up for the third pick, and I was kind of like nervous. I was looking at my phone. I was watching the live stream. Like I was like, oh, what's about to happen? And then I think they took an O lineman or a D lineman or something like that. And I kind of sat back, and I was like, all right, well, maybe the 12th pick, maybe my time will come then. And I was sitting there just watching, and then my name came up with Toronto, and I was like, what? And I refreshed the page, and it was still there, and I was like, that's my name. I was like, that's weird. And then I was like, maybe they typo or something like that. And then my phone starts ringing, and it was my agent, and he's just like, man, I need your WhatsApp number right now. It's not working for these guys. So I sent it to him, and then all of a sudden I was getting phone calls from the GMs and everything, and I was kind of sitting there starstruck, and I was like, what's happening right now? And then that was on the 30th of April, and I was flying out on the 7th of May. Like it was such a quick turnaround, and I was just gobsmacked. And like I don't think it set in until like June 15th or something like that. Like it took a long time to actually realize, hey, I'm here and doing this, which was crazy. But seeing my name pop up, it just kind of like my stomach dropped, and I was like, oh, that's me. I was like, that's weird. I was like, someone's just lost their job. They pressed the wrong button, and my name's popped up.
What was your interaction like as you were going through your final season at EKU? Was there did you have those conversations during the season, or was it after the season doing draft prep and stuff like that where the CFL became a real possibility?
Yeah, it was. I honestly couldn't remember. Like going into my last season, I remember like going into fall camp. I was like, there was no thought of playing professional at all. It was kind of just like play my last year here, graduate, and then I guess move back to Australia, sort of thing. And then a few like NFL scouts came and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool, sort of thing. And then I was talking to Day, like Coach Day, about it, and he was brilliant. He was really like staying on me about it and getting me in touch with Gary McPeak and everything, and just being like, look, just keep pitching your brand out there, keep talking to everyone. We were talking to different agents throughout the season to try and like figure out if I could sign with anyone at the end, and like who would take on a punter, and to be ready essentially. And then I got invited to the senior bowls and stuff, and I was like, this is actually a possibility, sort of thing. And it wasn't until I played in the second senior bowl down in Dallas that a Calgary scout and the Winnipeg GM came out, and they were actually at the game and watching and everything. And I was like, man, the CFL might actually be like a possibility. And then when I was training with Brian Perrone in Pittsburgh and getting ready for the draft after that Senior Bowl, that was when he put me on to my agent now, and he kind of said like, look, the CFL is a big possibility. Let's see what we can do and work through it. And here I am. Like it just kind of came out of nowhere, sort of thing, which was, it was always kind of like in the back of my head, but I was always kind of like, oh yeah, maybe it will happen, sort of thing. Like I never thought it would be like where I am.
Yeah. How much did you know about the CFL before that process began?
Honestly, I didn't know a whole lot. I'd kind of known that there's a few different rules. It was a little bit different. It's a lot more special teams based, which is like good for me. And then I started looking up a few more of like the stats and everything and the different teams and stuff. And one of my friends from my hometown in Australia actually plays for Winnipeg. So he's the punter at Winnipeg. So I reached out to him a couple times and just seen like what the ins and outs were and stuff. So he was really good with giving me information about it. And then when I signed, I kind of like really started diving into it and seeing what it all kind of entails and everything like that. And when I saw that like it was an 18 game, 22-week season, I saw that John averaged 48.3 last year on 130 punts for the year. I was like, whoa, I've got my work cut out for me. And then this year he goes out, he's had over 100 punts again, and he's just broken his record that he set last year. He averaged 50.3 on 100 punts. Like that's just wild. So it was definitely an eye-opening to the rules and like how much work I had to put in to get where I am.
Well, I think it's cool because, of course, Matt and TK were with the Titans last season. Josiah gets drafted this year to the Saints. And I've heard more guys just in quick conversations talking about the CFL this year. And, Jeremy's loving it up there. It's going really well for him. Like maybe that's a chance for me too. I think it's cool that you kind of opened a door up for, if for nothing else, open the eyes up a little bit to some of your past teammates to go, hey, there are possibilities out there, and then I can strive for something. If I don't get the call for the NFL, there's options out there that are seemingly really good options, at least according to what Jeremy's telling us. So that's pretty cool.
For sure, man. Like the ball up here is crazy. Like it's a lot of guys come up here from the NFL and don't make it because they underestimate how good the quality of football is here. And like I've spoken to guys that have played in the league and then they've come up here to play in the CFL, and they're like, it's just as good. Like the rules are different, so it's a lot more fast paced. Like there's only 3 downs, you punt on 3rd down. So it's definitely like the game moves so much faster. And like it's massive for American receivers, quarterbacks, DBs, the O&D line. Like it's big for those guys, especially coming up from down south. So it's a huge game that's growing and growing and growing, and guys need to like know that it's good football up here. It's not just some shocking league that people come to when they don't make it. Like it's real ball.
Yeah, man, that's really cool. Duff, anything else for Jeremy?
No more questions here, but I will say Jeremy's a tireless worker. He's paved his own path the whole way, jumping country to country at this point. But yeah, tireless worker, great football player, even better friend, better roommate. I wouldn't trade the time that I got with him here at EKU and in this house right here for anything in the world. And so he'll be back for my senior day, November 23rd. So looking forward to seeing him there after hopefully the Argonauts win the Grey Cup. And I wish I would have grabbed my hat out of that closet over there. I got an Argos hat Jeremy got for me. But no, best of luck to you, brother. I miss you around here, and I can't wait to see you.
I appreciate it, man. I'll Venmo you that money for saying all those nice things about me too. So appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Jeremy, we appreciate you taking time to come on, man. We're really excited for you. And I will admit, I've looked more at the CFL this year than I have in my entire life. So we're excited for the opportunities you're getting, and we'll get down the road as well. And man, hopefully we get a chance to catch up with you when you're down in town in several weeks as well. So thanks, man. We do appreciate it.
No problem. I look forward to seeing you all on senior day.
All right. Jeremy Edwards, Toronto Argonauts punter, as well as EKU alum and former roommate of Jonathan Duff. And that's pretty awesome, man. It's pretty awesome. And it's a cool opportunity for sure. And it's cool to see the university getting a little bit of shine out there in the professional football world as well. I think it's pretty awesome for sure. All right. Tarleton, you guys fly out tomorrow?
Yep. Flying out tomorrow after we get through our normal morning routine here. We'll fly out some point early afternoon tomorrow.
All right. What's the mood like right now? This is a big one.
Yeah, good. Like we said, you got to win them all. 1-0 each week, you know. You just have this 1 week mentality, 1 week season mentality, you know. Excited. You know, the big thing that we talked about this week, and I've talked about it with some of the guys, and Coach Wells has mentioned it too. This is why you come to EKU. Playing games like this, games that matter, the big stage, this is where you make a name for yourself. So looking to seize an opportunity this weekend and just excited to get down there and play some ball. It's been a lot of anticipation this week, ready to just go out there and do it, you know.
Ready to get it done. Well, good luck to you guys this weekend in Texas. I'll be watching on the television. And hopefully next week we'll be talking about a big win and getting ready for another home game next weekend as well from there. Anything else we need to cover before we head out?
No. Fun episode. Maddox is a great guy. Jeremy's a great guy. This was a fun time. I'm glad they could take the time to come on. Definitely. I appreciate your help getting Jeremy on, by the way, as well, for sure. Follow us on social media at Sports Stove. Check out, if you live in Central Kentucky, check out allaroundroofingky.com for all your exterior needs on your house. Make sure you tune in this week if you cannot make the game in person, and cheer on as loud as you can from your couch or the stands, wherever you may be. Thank you to Maddox Marcellus. A lot of fun. Thank you to Jeremy Edwards. Also a lot of fun. Thanks to Jonathan and Isaac for making those guests happen this week as well. Until next time, we'll see you around the Sports Stove.